And we are going live, and Linda is right. I do have good helpers tonight. Hi, Linda. We've got Ken and Sarah here tonight. Oh, Jan is all ready to go. Lois, it's hot in Delaware. You know what, Lois? I don't think there's a place in the U.S. right now that isn't hot. Um, what? Well, we're live right now. Um, let's go back up. Maida, hello from California. Welcome. And Alice, welcome, Matthew. Welcome, Alice Matthews. Charlene is here. Diane is here. Janice is here. So glad to see you all. Okay. Sarah's having a little bit of trouble, technical trouble, but that's her problem, right? Oh, that was bad. But you know, what can I say, right? Mothers just happen to be like that. Okay, so tonight I am going to show you what we're going to work on. And it's not on here because we just had a little mishap with a Penmore. And you guys all know what those are, correct? They're little silicone pieces that we put over the top of our tacks when we're not using them so that we don't have the tack fall out and then we don't step on it or we don't puncture our fingers with it. Well, one hit the floor, of course. And we've got all the hooligans up here tonight, the two little ones and the border collie. And I was scared to death. One of them was going to try and swallow it. So we found it. Everything is good, but we were kind of a minute or so late, and I apologize for that. Tonight, Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. Judy P made it. Judith is here too, and from Kentucky. Awesome. So tonight, circles on Quilts Wreath templates. I just want to kind of go over this just a little bit. Now, I am going to let you guys know too, I will not be doing any more of these. And the reason being is Shanna Rendon is going to do a series on the wreaths, and there's another one that goes with it. But she's going to do all these for you. So my philosophy is she's very, very good at it. You'll learn a ton of stuff from her, and there's no sense in both of us doing the same thing. So tonight, after we get this one done, I have taken all of the Circles on Quilts wreath templates out of our basket. We have currently 23 different wreath templates. What I want you to notice on them, some of them are very similar. These two are very similar, and these two are very similar. But check, the 12 and 13 are very similar, and the 14th. Check, because I believe that is the sizes that are different. So we are working on the number 6 template. If you purchase it, there is bonus education included. And this template is 11 and a half inches. Yep, 11 and a half inches finished, which means from the tack to the outside is half of 11 and a half, so it's 5 3/4 inches. Now, when we do the template, it does not automatically put this outer line in for us, but I'm still going to show you how to do that. Let's take a quick look at the instructions, because you all know that's the first thing I do is take a look at the instructions. Our template is not like this one. our template is like this one. And what is nice about it is it has all kinds of edged lines so that we can line up the rotations that we just finished before we put our new rotation in, and we know we're going to be where we want to be. Hi, Marcia Gray, Teresa, Sandy, Patsy, Janice is here. Great lunch today, Janice. We girls had lunch today. It was a nice day for it. So, to tell you the truth, I do not know if these new templates have the channel guide or if they still contain the key. I know that there's some templates that are going to retain the key and they're not going to do the needle the channel guide just yet. Hopefully they get to all of them because I think that is so cool. So here it is. Here is our template. I'm going to move you back so you can see. Bermuda. Well, Diana, welcome. Evelyn, Sandy. We are on the 4th and 5th. Awesome. Okay, so what you'll see in this is it has this little protrusion here at the bottom. What that does is that's going to make our circle around the center of the template, and you'll see it right here. Donna's here. Hi, Donna from North Carolina. Awesome. So good to see everybody. When we get our templates, somewhere on the template, on this one, it's marked right here, the size of the template. Okay. It may to give you numbers to follow. We don't have to worry about that on this one though. So the first thing I want to show you is something that maybe this template isn't exactly designed for, but when I was playing with it this morning, I thought, my gosh, that looks kind of cool. But you know what? I don't need a pin for this one. So we're going to take that off and set it aside. It wants to stick to my finger. Now, what you're going to notice, and if you look on here, you're going to see it more clearly. It has a gentle kind of swoop to it. It just kind of curves in one direction as opposed to the other. That's not a problem. We can work with that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I would do a corner treatment with this template. And I'm going to move you in nice and tight so you can see that. And I'm just going to make sure that I am pulling my thread up in the crosshairs for where the vertical and horizontal outer. Marcia's here from North Carolina. Awesome. North Carolina is actually quite well represented. There we go. We're going to get some light on there. And now what I'm going to do, this is not the way this template was intended. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my vertical line right here on the vertical line and of course up at the top too. I'm going to stitch half of a rotation and then go back to the center. I'm going to turn it this way so you get a better look at what I'm doing, okay? I'm going to come up this side and I'm not even going to bother doing a whole rotation. Take that first stitch in place. There we go. I did go in and set my foot height earlier. And I'm going to stop when I get to my vertical center because this is seam allowance over here. We don't need to go there. I'm going to come back down, move my hands just a little bit. And now we're going to come back to our starting point. And we're going to stop with our needle down. Now I am going to twist it. On this rotation, I am going to do the entire template, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and move out. You'll see how it just kind of jets out there. It's okay. That part is pretty much going to be hidden anyway, so I wouldn't get excited about it. And we're going to do a whole rotation. Remember, it's a curvy design, so we want our stitch length to be just a little smaller. And we have several ways of doing that. One, of course, be careful right here you don't fall off the template. One would be to make your machine stitch faster. Another way would be to slow down your hands, or you could slow down your machine and your hands. Whatever way you do it, it should be comfortable for you, okay? If it's making you sweat, if it's making you nervous and tensing up, practice a little bit, okay? Because this is not something that should make you tense. It should just keep you nice and enjoyable and leisurely. Okay, so what I've done here, oops, I got these in backwards. Oh, well, that's okay. So what I've done is I've done these three and they kind of swoop over to that side. So now I'm going to flip my template over and put it back in. And yes, I did put staple tape on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and take my R and K tape for my gate, and we're going to make it fit in there. There we go. Just like a jigsaw puzzle. Speaking of which, my husband doesn't know it yet, but I bought a 2,000-piece jigsaw puzzle today on sale. What is it? Sarah asked. It's an old truck in front of an old store and old milk bottles and stuff. Sarah said we already did it. Aura's here. Hi. And so is Catherine and King. Orland Park. Awesome. Awesome. We're so happy that you could make it tonight. Okay. So now what I've done, and I think this is a kind of important thing to note. On the center one, I'm going to do it twice. The first one, it was kind of leaning towards my right. I'm going to go over it again, only this time it's going to be leaning towards my left. So I've got my centers all lined up here. Put that down, make it a little easier to work. And here we go. Ken has a question. Oh, okay. And around we're going to go. And it's not going to be far off, but it is going to go in the same direction as our next two. There we go. Back to center. And I'm going to now rotate, and we're going to do 2 more rotations. Now the center one, it is entirely up to you whether you want to do this double rotation or not. I think it looks good either way. I really do. So if you want everything going in one direction, you can do that. You don't need to flip the template over if you don't want. And now here we are, we're at our side seam. I'm going to go ahead and here we go. And what I'm going to do here now, at this point, I am done with this template, right? However, I am still going to stitch back to center. And I know somebody out there is thinking to themselves, why? You don't have to. You're exactly right. I don't have to. But the why is because I want to keep it consistent. And I know I've talked about consistency before, probably more than one time, knowing me. So what you're going to see is that here, when we started, I came up and then moved back. So I want to do that on the end one also. That's where the consistency comes in. Don't worry about this part being messy, because what's going to happen is that's going to end up in your seam allowance. You're not going to notice that. So here we have what I would call a corner motif with the circles on quilts spinning, or circles on quilts wreath 6. What do you all think of that one? Alice likes it. Thank you, Alice. Carol, hello from New York. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, we are going to take a look at some different ways of doing this. And I'm going to grab my practice square here. And I'm going to let you guys see how many lines we've got on that. It's quite a few, isn't it? Quite a few. We are going to do, okay, first thing we're going to do is we're actually not even going to do the entire template. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I have to think this through because I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, we're going to start on the other side. Now this is, let me take a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a 24 point. No, it's not. It's a 32. I'm sorry. 8 times 4 is 32. Yes. So I'm going to start with my number 1 being here, and I'm going to move backwards. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my my pin on the pin here. We're going to stitch to this arrow. How did I find that arrow? That's a really good question. Whoever asked that, thank you. What I did was I was stitching it out. Whoops, this way. And then when I put the second one in, I'm sorry, I started from 1, came to the right, up, and back down.
Very pretty, looks nice, corners can be tricky.
Thank you. Sarah says, would you repeat that?
Very pretty, that looks nice, corners can be tricky.
That's what she said. Yep. Jan O'Grady, why don't you? I know you've got my number. I just dropped another. another one of these things. Jan, give me a call afterwards and I can set you up with that, okay? I found it. Chris, I froze up. No way, it's too hot. Okay, Fort Worth, Texas. Linda LaFleur, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, now that I knocked this out, is which ruler upside down on purpose? Yeah, it's not supposed to be, but that's the way I put it. I think they call those senior moments. I call them a brain fart. Either way, it was just one of those things. Okay, so yeah, Sarah says it's the same either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around here and make my first rotation whole on line 1. And if you want, this is the way I prefer to do it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. What you can do is you could go ahead and put your circle in first. Why I like to do it that way is so I don't keep overshooting it and ending up with more layers than I really want. Okay, there we go. Jan said they are both. Okay, I'm not really sure, Jan, what you mean. Could you ask that again, please? Okay, I'm going to put it in right side up. And I am going to put my foot. Now, this is kind of important. When you're doing your whole circle all the way around, you can go either way. You can put your foot here and go backwards, or you can put your foot here and go towards you. I'm going to tell you why I do it the way I do it. Again, remember, just because I do something some way doesn't mean it's the only way. And if you do it different, it's wrong. It's not. Okay. We all have different ways of doing things, and the world would be very boring if we all were exactly the same. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in and pull my bobbin thread up. Now, the reason that I like to do this is because on more than one occasion, when I've been working with these templates and I've tried to go backwards, I end up migrating my foot out here. Here, it's a little harder for me to have that foot migrate because you can see that it's being supported all the way around. Okay, take a, whoops. We're going to take a stitch here. Or two, and then I can let go of my thread. And what I'm going to do is I'm not even touching my template, guys. Isn't this cool? It's just going around on its own, and I know that it is making the perfect circle. Making sure it doesn't jump out of my pin. I don't like to do this quickly. I think sometimes we think it's a simple thing. I'll just get it done and get it out of the way. Usually when I think that way, that's when I make mistakes. You see how beautiful that foot stays right in that little horseshoe space for it. Almost all the way around. And just a few more stitches, a few more lines, and we will have it done. And I know there's some people here who are watching who know that, yes, I really do stitch that slow. Oh, probably drove these girls crazy teaching them for the last 5 years. Okay, so now I'm back to number 1. Okay. To where I started, I should say, not back to number 1. Now we're at number 1. Okay. I think I'm going to adjust this just a little bit, but I'll wait. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to end down here. I'm going to go in this orientation. And I may need to move. I'm going to stop here. I need to move this over to the other side. Patsy's here? Hi, Patsy. Okay, now I'm going to come back down. And it looks like I got off of my template just a hair there. No problem. I'll go ahead and pick those few stitches out. It's not going to hurt anything. The other thing is, okay guys, here I'm letting one of my secrets go. Sharpies, Sharpie markers. You should have them in every color. Okay, now we're going to come back to where we started. I'm going to rotate. I had this in the right place the first time. I'm going to, no, I didn't. It's going to go right here. Actually, it's closer to right there. There we go. So what you're going to see is we are going to go ahead and stitch over here and come back down. Now, what we want to make sure of, we want to make sure that this is 1/4 of an inch. And that's perfect at 1/4 of an inch. And my vertical line still stays lined up. Okay, so we're going to just take a couple stitches. This Kathy Dewey, he said, check that out. Better idea than never, right? Chocolate marshmallow sundae was oh, better late than never. Oh, Kathy, you know what that is. I've always been told you can't have stuff like that unless you've got enough to share. Okay. Catherine, thank you. I appreciate that because sometimes I don't take the time to look over and I want you to see all of this. So again, we're going to come up to here and back down. Okay. Nice and steady. Going to stop at my arrow, take an extra stitch. I call that my hesitation stitch. And we're going to come back to the beginning. Nice and slow. There we go. Now I'm going to rotate again. I'm going to use my spacing gauge just to double check, and you'll see it's perfect 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to come over towards the center. And there we go. We're back off to another one. And we're going to just touch that previous row of stitching. and we're going to come back to the beginning. And you're going to notice I've done this again. I can tell you exactly why that's happening for me. I have the camera above my arm and it does not reach under it as good as it should. So I'm releasing it too quickly. No worries, this is practice. Okay, now you'll see on this one, I'm just about a quarter of a stitch short. No worry, I'm just going to come back that quarter of a stitch and I'm right on. And here we go for another one. Staying nice and tight on the right hand side. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I had to adjust my hands there. Always make sure that you keep your needle in the down position when you're adjusting your hands. And here we go, back down. And off we go to the next one. Now, could we do this with an 8-point or 16-point rotation? Probably not. And the reason being is there's just not enough width here. If I tried to come over 2 lines, which is what I would have to do if I was doing a 16 reference lines, so I would have to skip this one and start here, and you'll see my partial rotation ends up over here under the template. So we don't want to do that. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to twist it back again. Check my 1/4 inch, and I'm just a little shy on it on this one too. No worries. There we go. And this will be the last one I'll do. So if I was closing this design, when I got to the end, this part right up to here would close the circle. Okay, we would not need to do one complete rotation to close the wreath, because we've already got, ooh, I must have bumped it. We've already got this whole side in. Okay, and down we're gonna go. Remembering to keep those stitches just a little shorter and go ahead and go in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut those threads out now and take that off of the pen. And tonight, honestly, I am going to remember to trim my bobbin thread. Boy, last week it seems like I had a real tough time remembering to do that. And there we go. And tonight's thread in the bobbin is black. I wanted to use that bobbin up. And that's what we end up with. What I love is I love the fact that this curve stays in there. And it curves up here. So it's a very, it's an S curve, but it's a very stylized S curve. So it comes down and goes around. I think anybody would be able to do that without any problem at all. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that.
Kathy had a chocolate marshmallow sundae calling, so she was late.
Yeah,
See one sitting here for us.
I already talked to Kathy about the chocolate sundae. Oh, Sarah says she doesn't see one sitting here for us. I said, yeah, I get that. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is how we can put that outer circle in which is really very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is going to be a 16 reference line rotation, okay? And let's see where we're going to put that. We're going to pretend this is number 1. What we're going to do is we're just going to ignore every other line. Pretend it's your husband. He just did something husbands do. Yeah, which is always wrong, Sarah said. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring our thread up. Make sure you guys got a good view of this. Thank you, Sandy. Kathy, I am so glad it was good. Now my husband's going to have to take me to the ice cream barn. We have in our town, we have what's called the ice cream barn. It is complete with cows. Trust me, it's not Hershey and Uber are the name of the cows, and it is not just a place to go eat ice cream, but it's a place to go and meet friends and sit around on the swings. And we just have a grand old time over there. They do have a fire pit out there, yes, and they have a mechanical bull. They have a silo. The kids love to go up in the silo. Okay, enough of our ice cream barn. But Kathy, you started it. Okay, so what I want to do is show you, whoops, how we're going to put that on. And I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about ice cream, you guys. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to get my circles on quilts. And I'm going to use my 11.5 inch. Okay. I'm going to start that at my number 1 spot, which is this spot right there. Yep. Wanted to make sure I had the right spot. Boy, I've got a lot of thread here. I guess I'm just being, yeah, I do keep pulling it, don't I? Okay, and there's number 1. Now remember, when we are working with our circles on quilts, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we stay on one side or the other. That's going to go on the floor and I don't want it to. Okay, so how do we avoid that? How do we accomplish that? I'm going to go ahead and put it in. I like to keep my thread underneath the template. It seems to not get in the way quite so badly there. Take a stitch or two in place and then I can let it go. Now, some people would take this at this point and they would just go ahead and take 4 micro stitches and cut it off, and that's fine. And there we go. Now, I am using this side of the template. My foot is on this side, and you'll see that I've got space over on the left side. And people often ask, well, why don't you make it exactly the size of the foot? And the reason that it is not made the exact size of the foot is because it's on a curve like this, you wouldn't be able to move your foot. So we just compensate and it's not a problem. I'm just riding it along the upper side. Now, one other thing I want you to be very aware of when you're doing this is don't push it. Don't push your foot against the template because you can accidentally get your fabric kind of wavy in here, and then the circle won't be a circle. And you definitely want your circles to be circles. Okay, almost there. And I'm coming along. This is where the last one is going to be. I'm going to go ahead down to the next straight crosshair line. Okay, there we go. Now, As I said, I'm using the 11.5 inch, and that comes with, for me, it was set 2. I think they've got a set 3 out that incorporates both the set 1 and the set 2. Back in the day when we didn't have all those luxurious templates. Okay, now I am going to pull out, and here we go. I'm going to go to number 1. I'm going to line up my vertical crosshair with number 1, and that's right here and right here. I'm going to start my foot in the cradle there. Can you tell we just had a baby in the family? It seems all of my words kind of come back to baby things. Okay. 2 months old. My goodness, that's fast. They grow up way too fast. So here we go. I'm going to go around that little cliff there. Remember, when you're going around, you want to go nice and slow. I'm going to put my needle down. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. I want to make sure you've got good view. Now, all things being equal, this will just skim the circle that we put on. And I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, I don't need to come down here and back over. I'm just going to stop when I get to that point. And there we go. Stopping on that circle. Well, goodness. There we go. Now I am simply going to rotate my template, and you'll see that my foot ends up back in this handy dandy little cradle. So here's where my top ends up. This is 1/4 of an inch. If you're unsure, use your spacing gauge and you'll see it works out perfectly. And I'm going to come back around that little cliff, and we're going to come up. Ooh, I got off of my center, but that's okay, because when I get to it, what to do to fix this, I'm glad it happened so I can show you what to do to fix it. It's very much like one of the clamshells. When we get to the top, we're going to go ahead and realign our vertical center. Okay? Make sure you've got a good view of that. So I was off a little bit. I got to the top of my vertical center and realigned my template. And now I'm just going to come on back down. And again, I'm not going to go in here. I'm just going to stop when I get to my circle. And there we go. I love the way that this one doesn't go over the other rotations. It's basically on its own. It just stands on its own. Rotate it again. Remember, we're skipping one, and here's the next one. Okay. Okay, great, Sandy. You have a wonderful night, and thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Oh, Linda's here. Linda, it's good to see you. You finished supper and the dishes. Would you like to come over and finish mine? Just teasing. Good to see you, Linda. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put one more rotation in here. And again, coming around. And now we've got that beautiful outward circle that keeps all of our design inside of it, and it just looks pretty. It's very nice and finished. Whoops, there we go. Okay, I am going to do 2 more of those, and then we're going to move on to something else.
And she would come over and do that, but she already had to miss the beginning of the class because of that. So
Okay, I want you to be able to see the end of the class, so we're good, we're good. Okay. And as I said, these can take as long or as little as you want. It depends on how fast you sew. And I know we've got some educators that sew quite quick. And then you got me. I'm slow. I can't help it. It's just me. That's it. Okay, so that gets our quarter of our block all done. And again, you see the cute little, I don't know, just secondary designs that come out there. I really, really like it. That meets the circle perfectly. Linda, yes, you're right. And Linda, you're right too. Slow and steady wins the race. So we could, I'm thinking this would be really cool if we temp lead this area here. I mean, yeah, we definitely could temp lead this too. I think I'm going to have to come up with a project so we can do that.
yeah, this says her husband is ready to go to the store. She'll catch the replay later.
Okay, Maida, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. It's always nice to see you. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to show you something else that we can do to embellish the little, they look like plumes to me. So we're going to do some embellishing on those plumes. Wet my whistle there. It does get dry when I talk too much, and that's what I do when I'm helping you ladies learn some things. Of course, I learn from you too, so it really is a two-way street, and I appreciate that very much. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make a plume as opposed to a plum. I think one has an E and one doesn't. Okay. I think Ken has abandoned us.
Yeah, he's outside with the dogs.
He's probably outside on his phone watching Facebook.
Probably watching it outside.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to come all the way around first. And here we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut those threads out. Don't want them, don't need them, right? Okay, and some funny going on with my machine here. We'll see if it'll limp through. This is the way I like to stitch. Nice and slow and steady. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist my template so that, and we'll make sure you've got a good view of it. I'm going to twist my template so my stitching touches the edge of the template. And I am going to stop on my vertical center line for this particular.
Yep, he just wrote on there busted.
He's busted. He is. He's outside watching the internet. Okay.
Sandy came in from
Hi, Sandy.
And Linda says she is with COQ Spinning Wave #1 on a project this week after watching last week's class. So
Oh, awesome. That's cool. I love to hear it. Don't forget to post it in Leslie by me because we would really like to see it. Okay, we're just going to go back. As I said, I stopped when I got to the center, my vertical center line. Come back down. I didn't know for sure if this was going to work or not. But after I got playing with it, I was really impressed with how well it did work.
Brooks just came in from the class and she'll catch the beginning later.
Hi, Jean. Nice to see you. So Sandy is here too.
That's why I said Sandy from Tampa.
Oh, Donna said no, he ran out to get us chocolate marshmallow sundaes. Yeah, I know he wouldn't do that. Okay, so now I'm going to again twist it so that my stitching just touches the edge of the template. And I'm going to come back, stop at the center, and come back down. I'm going to show you another way to do this. So I don't know if you guys can hear my machine, how it suddenly changed. The foot, no, the foot came loose. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it from the right until this right-sided line of stitching is lined up with my template. This is going to be a little different because it's got that little hook on the bottom. But when you get to the top, it should be exactly the same. And again, I'm going to stop just shy of the previous line of stitching. You'll see I did not meet these lines of stitching right here. Let me get over it so you can see better. Okay, good. This stitching stops here, this stitching stops there. So I came close, but I did not meet them. Now, could you meet them? Yes. And I'm going to show you a really easy way to meet them after we get this one done. And I'm going to come right back down to the center. What you'll notice is I am not going into this little cradle, okay? And I'm turning this template one more time. And again, we have to go around that little hook. And we're going to come up. And I'm going to stop just short of the previous line of stitching. And we're going to come back down. I love this one. I really, really love this. Isn't that cool? It's just kind of it adds something to it. It really does. You could do it with just one line. And now I'm going to show you, I'm going to go over here, get over on my side. There we go. I'm going to show you how you can do this without having to travel back. Okay. I'm going to make my first rotation, and it is going to be a complete rotation. I need to get that out of my hands. Sometimes I just hang on to it just because I can, but then I get irritated with myself when I let it get in my way. Okay, gonna come up and around nice and smooth.
Anne said hi from Australia.
Hello, how are you, Anne? So good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Okay, So now what I've done is I've made my complete rotation. I am going to go ahead and twist just like I did on the last one, and I'm going to stop on my vertical center. Around we're going to go, and we're going to stop right there. Now what I'm going to do, I want to make sure you can see this well, is I'm just going to twist my template in the opposite direction and keep going. I got a little bit of a toe catcher there. That's okay, it'll be fine. And we're going to come back down. And we're just going to go ahead. And now, again, I'm turning this a lot. I know I am. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to turn my template so that the line of stitching touches the side of the template. And we need to go around that hook this time, but that's okay. And again, we're going to stop on the center, vertical center line here. As soon as I hit my center line, I'm going to move my template in the opposite direction. Now, what this does, what is the advantage of this? Well, the advantage of it in my feeble brain, which it is most of the time, is that you don't have to travel, okay? And it will be consistent. Okay, so what I mean by that is here you've got these lines doubled with the outside line being single. On this one, what you've got is all three are single stitched line. And so, yeah, it's there's always more than one way to do anything. Do you use, Jan is asking, and Teresa, you're right. It does look like a whisk. I thought that this afternoon too. I was stitching it out. Do I do this? Jan asked, do I do the same template during coffee with Kathy? Absolutely not. Tomorrow we are going to be doing yin and yang with coffee with Kathy. Linda says smart. Thank you. And Aura loves the idea too. Linda says that's a great tip. Thank you, Linda. You know, that brings me to, I know I've said it before. If I know, if I have something that I think works well or can benefit anybody, I'm going to share it. I don't hold anything back. So we've got a couple of minutes. I want to show you one more thing and then we will be done for today. And Sarah's going to pull the next week's template. Okay. Yeah, she said the old man disappeared, and yes, he did. Okay. I'm going to put my first rotation in. And it's just your basic rotation.
Laura asked if you could take a few stitches just shy of the center line and then jump stitch to the other side and go down.
Yes. Yes, you can. And I just ran out of bobbin. No worries, it takes me 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Sarah. What I like about this 301 and my Sew Steady tape, I don't have to take everything off to get my bobbin out. Isn't that awesome? It works just so easy and so quickly. Whoops. Hope I didn't get you seasick there. Thank you, Sarah. And I'm just going to put this down. I'm going to tell you honestly, the reason I'm taping this down is because the bed of my machine is dirty and I just didn't take the time to clean it. So yeah, it's me. It's not the glider. It's just me. Okay, and we are back. Now, you see, if that was a recorded class, I could have edited that out for you guys. Okay, there we go. And it might be off a hair, but we're not going to worry about that. Oh, it actually came back pretty good.
Pat says hi from Iowa.
Hi, Pat.
And Linda's asking about your machine. Is it a featherweight?
No, Linda, it is not a featherweight. It is a Singer 301. It is, there it is. It is my absolute favorite stitching machine for free motion and for template and ruler work. This machine actually was Ken's. Ken is a quilter as well. And he picked this up, I don't really, yeah, it's been about 5 years, yeah. And he said to me one night, he says, "Hey, you wanna try that Singer 301?" Because he knew how much I loved my featherweight. But featherweight, you can't, put the feed dogs down. So I don't normally use it for this type of work. So I tried it, and he never saw it again unless he came into my sewing room. So no, that's why Dad can't keep a machine, Sarah said, and that's about the truth of it. She stole his Juki, yeah. The other thing, you doing free motion or ruler work on a featherweight, can it be done? Yes, it can. And the way that it can be done is if you were to put an index card or something underneath the underneath your glider and over the top of your feed dogs. The reason that I don't use the featherweight is because of the very, very small throat that it has. And it is kind of difficult to manipulate many of the templates around that. Okay, so I've come up to the top and back to the bottom, and I've just twisted it again, and I'm going to do this one more time. Coming up to the top, and I'm going to go until I touch this line of stitching on the very first rotation.
Linda and Aura both said poor Ken, but what they don't realize is 90% of the time he buys it because he knows somebody else is going to want it.
Yeah, he's actually very generous in that way. Sarah just said 90% of the time that he buys things, he buys them knowing somebody is going to want it, and he is very generous with sharing and giving to others. I guess I'm just kind of lucky. Now, hopefully he's not listening, so he didn't hear that, because we don't want his head to get too big. Oh, okay. So now here I go on the other side, and I'm coming all the way up again and coming back. So what we're doing is we're just doing a little bit of cross hatching up there. It's cute. It looks good. I don't know how far I would go with it. Here I've only done 2 lines of it. We'll just throw one more in there to see. Well, my goodness, I went on the same line. Okay, busy talking. There we go. Now we're going to come back on it. There we go. And I really don't think we have enough room for one more line of it. There we go. Anyway, That's how it would look if you took your time, and you'll see that this is how it looked when I drew it out. So can you do it? Yes, you certainly can. And you could come up with another time, definitely. Now, these little things that I did here, joining them, I just used my 4-inch arc to do that. It worked quite well. Don't forget, we've all got um, starters, our sample starter set. And what's cool about that is you can combine any templates that you have with the sampler set and see what you can do. I really want to encourage you to come up with ideas, draw them out. I think that's very important, and it will help you in the long run.
Anne is asking if the Tuesday session is a video in university.
Is the Tuesday sessions? No, it is not, Jan. Sarah, would you give me those templates right there on the ironing board, please? Whoops. It is not. We do record them. They are on So Studies YouTube page. They are, and I don't know if they are just kept on for a short time or not, but on the 906 Quilting YouTube page, they will stay on. I won't be deleting them at all. So they'll be available to you. And if you ever have any questions about that, just you guys know you can always give me a call. So tomorrow morning, these are the templates we're going to look at. These are the yin and yang templates, and we've got some really cool, fun stuff planned for these. So I hope you'll join me for that. It's 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and 6 a.m. Pacific Time, and 2 p.m. over in the United Kingdom. Ah! Yes, or you can watch them anytime you want. Yeah, Linda, I love the cross hatching look too. If, I'd taken a little more time, it would have been better. So I'm going to ask if anybody's got any more questions. Diane, thank you. I appreciate that.
So she'll be there.
Awesome. I look forward to that. Oh, goodness. I just can't believe this one came up now. Okay. So this next one will be on the 23rd of July. Christmas bell, holly tree, and sampler. So we're going to do Christmas in July next Tuesday night. That is just too funny. I can't believe it. We don't plan these things. We really don't. But it's kind of fun how they do pop up. I'm going to put that there so it doesn't fly away. So if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, please like, share, comment, post pictures. I love so much to see the projects you're working on. Please feel free to go ahead and post them on I've got a personal page. It's Catherine Clausen for my Facebook page. I have a 906 Quilting Services Facebook page as well. And I have my 906 Quilting YouTube channel. And every once in a while, I just throw things up there for grins and giggles. Oh, time. Sarah says she needs to get me working on TikTok. I'm tech need out. Judy, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here. Kathy is bringing popcorn for everyone next week, right, Kathy? Oh, Linda, thank you for joining us. Janice will see us for coffee. Debbie, hi. I know you were there. I just didn't get a chance to talk to you at all. Zora, you are quite welcome. I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you can make it too, Diane. So, as long as you don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and tell you, like I like to do, let's all go quilt. Have a good night.